Marcus wiped the grease from his hands onto his already stained coveralls, watching as Emperor Jothic's royal cruiser lifted off from Base 7. Another day, another imperial visit to the Celestial Forge shipyard, and another instance of the towering reptilian ruler walking past him without so much as a glance. Not that Marcus minded. Invisibility had its advantages. "You fixed the quantum stabilizer again," Isabella said, appearing beside him with 2 cups of bitter station coffee. The chief engineer's violet eyes, a mark of her Valorian heritage, sparkled with amusement. "The Emperor's chief mechanic spent 3 weeks trying to diagnose that problem." Marcus shrugged, accepting the coffee. "Loose coupling on the tertiary manifold. Basic stuff." "Basic for you, maybe." Isabella leaned against the railing, watching the cruiser disappear into the star-dotted void. "Did you hear? The Emperor just authorized another 50 million credits for the search. That's 200 million total now." Marcus had heard. Everyone in the galaxy had heard. 6 months ago, someone had transmitted a solution to the Krath equation, a mathematical puzzle that had stumped the Empire's greatest minds for 3 centuries. The solution hadn't just been correct, it had been elegant, revolutionary, opening doors to faster-than-light travel that made current technology look like wooden wheels. The transmission had been anonymous, bounced through so many relay stations that tracing it was impossible. The Emperor wanted that mind in his service, wanted it desperately enough to bankrupt smaller planets in the search. "They're interviewing the station's senior staff tomorrow," Isabella continued. "Anyone with advanced mathematics credentials. The Emperor's convinced the genius must be someone important, someone educated at the core world's academies." Marcus said nothing, taking a long sip of his coffee. He'd been educated, all right, by his grandmother in a cramped apartment on Earth, learning math through puzzle books and library computers while other kids played outside. By 16, he'd solved problems that made his teachers uncomfortable. By 20, he'd realized that being a human prodigy made people nervous, made them expect things, made them watch him. So he'd become invisible instead. Just another mechanic, another human working in the shipyards beneath notice. "The Emperor's chief mathematician gave a speech," Isabella said. "Called the solution divine inspiration, said whoever solved it must be walking among the gods." She glanced at Marcus, something knowing in her gaze. "Funny, isn't it? Everyone's looking up when they should be looking around." Marcus's hand tightened on his coffee cup. Isabella was too smart for her own good. She'd been watching him for months now, ever since he'd casually mentioned a flaw in the shipyard's power distribution system that had taken the engineering team 3 weeks to confirm. "I should get back to work," Marcus said. "The transport in Bay 12 needs its engine calibrated." "That transport left an hour ago," Isabella said softly. "You calibrated it during your lunch break, I checked." They stood in silence, the station's ambient hum filling the space between them. "Why?" Isabella finally asked. "Why hide what you can do?" Marcus looked out at the stars, at the endless expanse that humanity had only recently reached. Out there, the Jothic Empire stretched across 200 systems, ancient and powerful. Humans were newcomers, barely tolerated, seen as useful but unremarkable. "Because the moment they know," Marcus said quietly, "I stop being Marcus the mechanic. I become Marcus the asset, Marcus the weapon, Marcus the thing to be used." He turned to face her. "The Emperor doesn't want to hire whoever solved that equation. He wants to own them, control them, make sure their genius serves only his empire." "And you'd rather fix engines?" "I'd rather be free." Marcus smiled slightly. "Besides, I do my best work when no one's watching. Already transmitted 3 more papers under different pseudonyms. Solution to the Velkar paradox, new fusion containment protocols, a redesign of gravitational shielding that'll make ships twice as fast." Isabella's eyes widened. "That was you? The Velkar solution has the entire scientific community in chaos. They're calling it the work of multiple geniuses, maybe a secret think tank. Nope, just a human mechanic with too much time during night shifts. Marcus finished his coffee. And I plan to keep it that way. Let them search. Let them spend their billions. They're looking for someone extraordinary, someone who stands out. They'll never find someone who's learned the greatest trick of all. Which is? That ordinariness is the perfect disguise. Marcus headed toward the lift. Now, if you'll excuse me, there's a coolant leak in Bay 4 that everyone else thinks is unfixable. Should take me about 20 minutes. Isabella watched him go, shaking her head with a smile. Below them in the hangar, the Emperor's search team was setting up equipment, preparing to interview the station's elite. They'd brought quantum computers, genetic scanners, neural analysis equipment, everything except the simple wisdom to look at the grease-stained human mechanic walking past them with a toolbox. That evening, Marcus sat in his cramped quarters working on his next paper, a solution to stable wormhole generation. The mathematics flowed like music, beautiful and pure, requiring nothing but his mind and a battered data pad. Somewhere, the Emperor raged. Somewhere, the galaxy searched. And here, in a tiny room in an ordinary station, a human mechanic smiled and changed the universe one equation at a time, free from the burden of recognition, accountable to nothing but his own curiosity. After all, the best way to hide a star wasn't to dim its light. It was to hide it among a billion others.